bunch of stuff. I love that tune.
Good evening, and welcome to Field Talk. I am the Field, also known as Field of Bears, here to remind you that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide. Tonight, we are going to talk on Trump and Trump. Yes, the two Trumps. The one we like and the one we like less. Hi, Pinder. And maybe we can talk a little bit about the ideas I've floated over the past couple of days after that. But tonight I am reading off the screen because I couldn't get the printer to function properly because, of course, things had to go wrong right before the show. I'm very glad to see you again, Tom. Oh, I guess. Veteran is here. Excellent. So on Trump and Trump. As I have said often and repeatedly, I did not vote for Donald Trump. I voted for Hopper Crowder. Hashtag Gas the Squirrels. I was highly skeptical of the God Emperor of humanity during the election, but I did appreciate that he's pretty funny. I will say that I liked that even then. I will say that I liked that even then. That's not very good syntax. But some things prevented me from pulling the trigger back then, like his advocacy for protectionist policies, which have a long and sordid history of backfiring catastrophically. That, and my brother was an active duty Marine at the time, so any hawkish talk just turned my stomach. And even though he was against a war with Russia, he was pretty tough on foreign policy during the campaign. And it did kind of tingle my spine a little. Didn't like that. I will not participate in sending my own blood into the fire of war. Period. That being said, his frankness on the subjects of Islamic terror, immigration, and socialism were refreshing to say the least. My policy hangups prevented me from committing to Trump's candidacy politically, and California always goes blue anyway. Every voter here could cast a vote for Trump in the next election, and it would still go blue somehow. President Trump has done quite a few things that I like, though. First off, he killed the TPP, a trade agreement that was touted as free trade, but had thousands of pages of regulations to prove it. The Asian sphere of trade is a bit more rocky as a consequence, but there is no need to subject U.S. citizens to Chinese copyright. Period. There's just no justifiable reason for it. He overturned Obama's unconstitutional, imperial, and immoral phone and pen legislation from the executive seat. Don't get me wrong, I prefer people to understand that an executive seat is effectively unnecessary if you just have an unconquerable culture, but it's still nice to see it return to its prescribed role. In particular, not sending Planned Parenthood propaganda on my dime to foreign lands anymore is nice. Very nice. Speaking of propaganda, the DPRK anti-me and you propaganda has been ceased. That and artillery emplacements are standing down, missile test sites are being dismantled, inspectors are being let into the DPRK, and more progress has been made in favor of peace on the Korean Peninsula than has been since before I've been alive. It's looking like North Koreans are about to get some much-needed reprieve. The stock market is in an unrelenting bull market, and even though the bear always comes, I think we'll be prepared when it does. The unemployment rate is below 5% for the first time in decades, with a labor participation rate being steady over the past 20 years, and nobody has suggested yet another round of QE, even though it seemed to be a biannual event under the previous guy. So those are all the good things. It's not all roses and gumdrops, though, although gumdrops would be pretty cool as well. If you can believe it, an anarchist who only voted in the hopes of standing in the way of new laws is in his insane state, a little, isn't a dyed-in-the-wool MAGA fanatic. Shocking, I know. For one thing, I was extremely upset by launching rockets at Syrian air bases on the spurious evidence that Assad was gassing his own citizens, which was disproven 2 weeks later. Yeah, we don't like to talk about that. I'm not so keen on the trade war with the EU and China, even though it might be necessary thanks to four weak presidents in a row refusing categorically to demand free trade. And I think that giving farmers subsidies is a bad move, since subsidies always degrade an industry by insulating it from the sharpening force of competition. Again, I might not be seeing some larger goal here, but it still does, well, let's just say my Rothbard senses are tingling. Kind of like a Spidey sense, but cooler. Overall, I think he's doing pretty okay. Far from ideal, but at least he has an ideal to strive for. After all, what did you think Make America Great Again meant? Just a slogan? No, that's a goal. A clearly articulated goal that is actually achievable. So that's what I have to say about Trump. And even with all that, it's like, and nonstop, I might be even less disposed to like Donald Trump if I was more inclined to believe the media, but he's been taking a barrage of negative coverage from all sides this entire time for the past, 2 years. Oh boy. Satisfy my paranoia really quick. Shite. Nothing I can do about that. So, on the subject of international trade, I know what he's doing. I think it's really risky. What he's doing is he's threatening high tariffs in order to get other countries to lower their tariffs. He actually came right out and said it on Twitter earlier. I saw a screen cap of it where he said, "Hey, why don't we all just lower our tariff walls and have real free trade between us and the EU?" And but in order to get that, he has to threaten to put high tariffs on exports to the EU, on imports from the EU. But it's like if we don't get free trade with the EU and the tariffs are instituted, is it very likely that the next president is going to continue with the strategy of establishing free trade, or are they just going to be happy with gaining another governmental revenue stream from tariffs and keep the tariffs in place, which are paid not by the European Union but by the end consumer? So that's the risk that he's taking. I think it might be an acceptable risk, but it doesn't mean that it isn't a risk. And yeah, I am hoping that these protectionist kind of policies are temporary. I hope that they are a negotiation tool. A lot of people say that they are a negotiation tool, and I'm disposed to believe them. But I do have an inherent mistrust of people who have guns to enforce their ideas with. Yeah, Boulder Bear. I guess that's true. But the thing is if you're going to make a trade deal with another country, then the most optimal thing for both sides, the win-win, is for no tariffs on both sides, for free trade. The win-lose is for one side to have tariffs and the other side to not. So I think what Donald Trump is actually doing is what I was talking about the other day. I think what he's doing is tit for tat. I think he's in the retribution stage where he has to make sure that there's a consequence for sabotaging in the game called international trade. And I think that might be what tariff is properly viewed as, is the sabotage option in the game. And the other thing that I think could help is if more countries return to a gold standard. If we did that, and I know that China right now is attempting to have both fiat currency and gold currency at the same time. I think what they're trying to do is have international trade be done in gold, but still be able to manipulate their own currency in order to keep costs down. I think that will. I don't think that can continue for very long, but they could wreak a lot of damage on the world stage with that kind of policy, because they can produce the gold for very little cost if they just print a whole bunch of Chinese money, Chinese fiat currency to pay the workers with. And so they don't really have to pay for the sweat equity of getting the gold out of the ground, but then they could use the valuable gold in international trade to acquire resources from other countries, probably African resources. They're pretty colonial over there in Africa at the moment. So, and I do think that China is an adversary at the moment. It would be better for them to be more cooperative, I think, but I'm biased toward peaceful solutions to problems, like some kind of crazy person, I guess. Is this yeah, I want to know what you guys think about this. I want to know if you guys have any particular issues with Trump, if you guys have any spots where you disagree. Where am I going wrong here? Yeesh. Yeah, I know. It's awfully warm in here. It really is awfully warm in here. Oh, thank you very much. What do you believe? Thank you very much. I do like this hat. It's made out of linen, which makes it doesn't heat up my head so much. Speaking of hats, at 200 subscribers, that chicken hat goes on my head for an entire hour, and I will live stream with it on my head. So at 200 subscribers, chicken hat happens. Now, yeah, the thing about I saw the all caps, the infamous all caps tweet directed toward the president of Iran. I'm going Iran. And I know what he's doing. I know he's putting up a strong face to get Iran to back down, because everyone knows that in a military conflict, the Iranian military would just get flattened by our forces. I don't watch a lot of Andrew Klavan. I just don't know why. What I've heard of Andrew Klavan, I like. He's pretty interesting, but I don't watch him very often. I should probably find out where I can just subscribe to the Andrew Klavan show. That would be helpful. So, yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that. But he did the same thing with North Korea, right? He did the same exact. It was the same exact thing. Actually, I think that too, Keto Bear. I think that the Iranian people are not accepting being ruled by the mullahs any longer, and I think that they are working to take their country back. Hashtag make Iran Persia again. So I think that'll be very, very exciting to watch. However, even with all of these really positive pro-freedom changes in the Middle East. Oh, excellent. Excellent, lily dilly dog. I'll definitely look into that after the show, when I just take off all of my clothes and okay, Podbean. Okay, I'll just like take off all my clothes and sweat for a while, because it is awfully warm today. Awfully warm today. Well, see, the problem with that, Keto Bear, is Egypt, like their dictator, their dictator was kind of secular, right? Their dictator was kind of secular, and he allowed pluralism. Other sects of Islam were allowed to exist. Christians were allowed to exist. Even Jews were pretty okay in Egypt under that dictator guy, right? But then he gets overthrown, and who takes over? The Muslim Brotherhood. I haven't seen anything out of Egypt for about, yeah, I actually haven't seen anything out of Egypt for years. I don't even know what the situation currently is. We're all distracted looking at Saudi Arabia and Syria and Yemen, right now. No, see, I will be stripping all my clothing off when the camera goes off, Keto. What do you believe? I'll be, the camera will be off, and I'm just going to lie in a position where there's a good breeze going over my body, allowing the sweat to evaporate and sap some of the heat away from my core. Because, the problem with having a well insulated studio that doesn't echo terribly is it gets awfully warm in here when it's over 100 degrees out there. And the air conditioner you bought on Amazon doesn't seem to be working properly. So if anyone happens to know an AC guy in California, send him my way, please. That would be helpful. Yeah. So anyway, Keto Bear. The thing about Iran is the thing about Iran is they already have. No, well, if I'm going to strip on camera, I'm going to be getting money for it, not just subs. All right, that's like the rule. The rule is you don't strip for free. So the thing about Iran is they already have like basically the Muslim Brotherhood in charge of their country. So what they're rebelling against is the Islamic extremism. Now, I happen to be under the opinion that if more people. Oh, shut up, Roy Bear. I was crafted and designed to live in a place that isn't California. My ancestry hails from a foggy island in the Atlantic. I'm allergic to sunshine. So what they're rebelling against is basically Muslim Brotherhood. So they're not going to want that, but more. They're going to want something completely different. And the way that they're rebelling is by taking off hijab, by dancing in the street. Men and women, they're just like breaking the morality police's rules left and right. They're just like we're not. They are not pleased with how they've been ruled over for the past. It's about 60 years now, isn't it? Since the Mullah, how long has it been since the Mullahs took over? Not 60 years. It's been. It can't be 60 yet. Yeah. See, some of us are just not built to sit and bake. So I do. I very much would like to get some air conditioning expert to get this thing working properly. Actually, the funny thing about tanning is I inherited the Irish skin from my great grandmother, so it's like I'm allergic to the sun. Right, I go out and I burn when it's like 70 degrees out and clear skies. So just like burn, caked all over red. But you know, after a couple days, my skin isn't burned anymore, but it's still lobster red. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's only been 40 years. The people in Iran actually remember what it was like before the mullahs. They can actually compare the before and after, and they're like sick of it. It's like, no, we had it better before. The Shah was better, is what they're saying. Oh, don't worry about it, Lily Dilly Dog. I wasn't even aware of when the date was. I know it's like before I was born, the long time ago, back when back when Pinder was only slightly less ancient than he is now. I do have a few short sleeve shirts. I think I'll try and find some more of them. I don't think I look quite as good in them though. It's just a problem. And this one is not a terribly warm shirt, so I was wearing it. I think everyone was happy before the mullahs took over. I think the only people who in Iran are better off are the mullahs. Yeah, well, Boulder Bear, I'm so Irish that drinking whiskey rehydrates me. So why would I even try water? No, 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 Keto Bear. I will not go on air in an undershirt. I will dress properly for my job so that you don't have to look at me dressed like some kind of heathen. See, if we start talking about men's fashion, we'll summon the Eric. We'll summon the Nimmer by doing this. I was waiting for Nimmer to go live all afternoon, but he didn't. So what's the deal with that? Uh, um, do you mean haha? I knew it. We would summon him by speaking about men's fashion. I knew it. They want me to wear a tank top, Eric. They're telling me to wear a tank top, and I would rather sit here and drown in a puddle of my own sweat than dress like a heathen, a barbarian. Barbarians who don't even write. Oh, I didn't see anyone put that out on. I must not be subscribed. I must not be subscribed or following Pink Trip on either platforms. Huh? I thought I was. Well, see, I would end up giving awful medical advice, Lily Dilly Dog, because I don't know very much about medicine. See, I turn off the fan for you guys, so you don't have to listen to the fan. I close the door, shut the curtains, and turn off the fan so that you guys don't have to listen to it. And I am I am happy to make that sacrifice to make it sound a little bit closer to acceptable for you, even though it is dreadfully warm in here. Unfortunately, the only gun I own is the 22 in the corner. It actually needs to move back into it needs to move back the into my house where it's useful in case I hear something. But this is my this is the only gun I own. It's my varmint rifle. It's for coyotes and raccoons and things like that. I haven't actually had to kill anything with it yet. Oh, by the way, squirrel killing rounds don't work very good on rattlesnakes. Just to let you guys know. Oh, that's funny. So does the majority of does the majority of medical advice shows. Yeah, that's funny. I'd be in good company giving crappy medical advice. Okay, so what you want to do is, if you have a gaping open wound, rub dirt and semen in it. Yeah. How's that for terrible advice? That was like the worst advice I could think of. Yes, I know, Eric. I can't afford a fancier gun. It's just for varmints, okay? If there is someone who breaks into the property to do me harm, I will be forced to engage in mortal combat with a melee weapon, such as my spear or tomahawk, because I live in California, and an effective weapon for self-defense is not very easy to come by. So, leave your gross. And it's a Winchester. It's a Winchester. Does that give me any less gross? Like, I'm not going to go and get like a 30-06 for a squirrel and raccoon killer. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for you to catch up on me reminding you that, yeah, see, yeah, now you're here, now you've seen, and you're laughing at my spear, but you know what? It's actually in the background. I have one. Don't jerk two shot. You mean a holdout pistol? Like John Wilkes Booth assassinated Abraham Lincoln with? Keto Bear, is that what you mean? I think those are 22 caliber. That's kind of retarded. Well, varmints identifying as humans are still varmints. Where you get into trouble is when you have humans who identify as varmints. You need just a little bit more stopping power on those guys, because they are insane people and usually on PCP, and they think they're a raccoon and they're in your garbage, and it's just really awkward. But yeah, I would like to own a pistol. I think I think that if I start when I start making more money at this, then that's something I want to get is a pistol, and I do want to have an AR-15. Well, Boulder Bear, I think that if somebody takes that to federal court, it'll get knocked down, because as we see with all of the Second Amendment cases that have been going up to the Supreme Court, the Second Amendment has been winning quite often. So I think that for that at least, we are looking up. But it's mostly just all the extra fees and taxes in California that stop me. It's too expensive. They slap on like 6 just punitive fees if you want to buy a firearm in California. It's ridiculous. It's not conducive to the right to self-preservation at all. But yeah, thanks to the laws in my combat, if in my state, if an intruder happens upon my property to cause me molestation, or to vandalize my property, or to abscond with my belongings, then I shall be forced to engage him in mortal combat with a melee weapon. Luckily, I have a sword, tomahawk, spear. I have some options. Boulder Bear, I'm not entirely sure they'll even need to go all the way to SCOTUS. Like you might win the first round, and then they'll take it to SCOTUS, which means it's not on the plaintiff to argue why it's unconstitutional anymore. And with the precedents that the Supreme Court is with the precedents that the Supreme Court has been setting, that means that lower courts will be forced to rule along those precedents. So it might not even need to go that far. Wasn't that the one where the girl could speak to animals, but no one else could, and they had that weird chimp named Darwin? Well, anything actually on this half of the country will have to go through the Ninth Circuit, so he will. But the Ninth Circuit did just rule in favor of the Second Amendment because they're forced to by SCOTUS precedent. So there are like 6 Second Amendment cases in the courts at the moment, which are extremely important for precedent, which will mean that subsequent Second Amendment cases will have to abide by the same precedent, because only the Supreme Court can overturn a Supreme Court decision, obviously. I don't see. I think I remember who you're talking about, but I don't. I think he was like British, and he had a really nasally voice, a huge old nose. He said smashing all the time. Smashing. Oh, excellent, Boulder Bear. 10th Circuit. Very good for you. I thought that you were stuck with us. Well, might as well lean into it. That is just smashing. I don't have a giant nose. Normal size nose. Shut up, Eric. You're short. That's very lucky for you. I don't think it'll need to go all the way to SCOTUS in that case. Nigel Thornberry wore a pith hat. I don't have a pith hat. But fair enough. Fair enough. It is a rather magnificent mustache. I hope that the Ninth Circuit didn't rule on. I hope that SCOTUS did not rule on what pizza is real pizza. You know, honestly, I would go with the dueling pistols just to have them. I would go with having dueling pistols over the Derringer because it's just so much cooler. Yeah, see, Boulder Bear. City councils, it's like there are some cities that Californians fled to when our economy started going to garbage under the great and powerful dear leader. Praise be upon his unholy name, Barack Obama. Abreast. When Californians started fleeing, they went to some cities, right? And they're the same people with the same retarded ideas. They just thought, oh, there's more economic activity there. I'll go there. They don't really care about what made those cities particularly great. They just know that it's better than where they were, so they went to these cities like Boulder, and I know they went to Austin. A lot of Californians went to Arizona. Just a lot of these really economically active cities. Yeah, I left his middle name out on purpose because they don't like his middle name. Jerry Brown sucks his own. That's really not fair. I said I won't cuss on my show, Boulder Bear, and now I really want to say it. That is not fair of you. Why would you do that to me? You are awfully mean. But yeah. So these people are acting in the same exact way that the California legislature is acting. And they're passing laws just to irritate conservatives in the rest of the country. Like the recent attempt at banning the Bible. It's absolutely mad. They're insane. They've lost their minds. And they're doing things out of pure spite just because, I don't know, just because they lost. And they're doing the same things on city councils that they're doing in my state legislature. That's a very good point, Keto Bear. You can hide the Derringer in your sleeve and pop it out. Pew pew. And shoot them when they catch you cheating. And that is almost as cool as the doing this. Maybe it's cooler. I'm not sure which is cooler. Oh yeah, doing things out of spite always leads to great outcomes, like city streets covered in feces. That's where doing things out of spite got San Francisco. Ah, but so don't do things just to annoy the other side. Do I have a um? Well, one day, Eric, one day I will be able to afford a nicer, higher caliber firearm, which has more versatility than a varmint rifle. One day I will be able to afford it. And you know what? I will invite you to the party where I bring the gun into the family and give it a name. Yes, I know a 22 is not very useful for killing things that aren't varmints, but that's what it's for. It's also been passed down. You know? My dad gave it to me when I was 8. I'll show you where the hen house is. Hey, Mama Bear. Welcome to the last 15 minutes, where Eric is making fun of my 22 rifle that my father gave me when I was 8. And it's the only gun I own because I'm poor, damn it. You could solve this problem, Eric. You could send me a better gun. And then I would love you forever, even more than I already do. I mean, living in California isn't quite as bad as living in maple syrup land, where our good, okay, tolerable friend, associate Kyle survives. Well, I happen to know that I look smashing. So you can mock my appearance all you want. I didn't see very much of it. I didn't have cable when it was on. Couldn't afford those cartoons. Had to have network cartoons. Good ones. Batman. Batman was awesome. Changed my mind. Batman Beyond was pretty awesome too. I mean, it's the strangest thing. It's like in the past 10 years, I swear to you, it's been getting more insane in my own lifetime. It's like watching Oh, are you doing a tour out here, Eric? If you're doing a tour, I want to come see your show. Let us know and that stuff. I'd be very happy to see your show. But it's like, I swear it didn't used to be this bad 10 years ago. People were not this insane. I mean, yeah, LA was bad, but it wasn't the whole state. San Francisco didn't have a reputation for feces in the street. Maybe, and there weren't laws being passed specifically to annoy Bush. I swear, it wasn't this crazy. And you know what? It's like my ancestors crossed friggin' Death Valley to get here. Death Valley on covered wagons. Oh, LA? 4 hours of drive. That's 4 hours. I'll see if I can make one of the dates. I'll see. But my ancestors freaking crossed Death Valley and eked out a living farming and ranching, and before electricity founded this place. My ancestors made California freaking habitable, and these freaking commies, they want to take all that and ruin it. It's my dirt. Look, honestly, the only real solution is to make Los Angeles and San Francisco their own states. I'm in Central California. Hey, you know where that big rock in the bay? I live near there. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll be a black market straw dealer. It's like giving out heroin needles, but banning. My ancestors were Nickelodeon. I don't think I'm related to. Well, I am related to a watercolor artist. He's dead now, though. He was my great grandfather. I'll show you some of his paintings on a Periscope one day. You derailed me right there. Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, is my ancestors built this thing. We made it habitable. Not I shouldn't say we. They made it habitable. They sacrificed blood and sweat fighting against Mother Nature and hostile people. And the goddamn sun to make this place somewhere that people can live comfortably. And they did it before electricity, before even the railroad. Like, and all that courage, all that sacrifice. And it's not just my ancestors. There are thousands of peoples who have ancestors who did the same thing and made those same sacrifices and deserve the same respect. And what are they getting? They're getting their memories just thrown in the garbage and just defecated on by these disrespectful, ungrateful, unproductive, unhappy, unhelpful communists who just want to take other people's success because they don't know how to create anything on their own or even how to follow someone else who does. And that's why I'll keep fighting behind enemy lines as long as I can. As long as I can still live, as long as I can still fight, I'm doing it. So, my fellow Californians, stop voting for idiots. I'm telling you again, Eric, this is not a hat made out of pith. It is not a pith hat. I'll get a pith hat one day. I'll wear it and it'll be fantastic and amazing. But it is not a pith hat. And I have respect for the people who came before me. I don't know. Maybe that'll help, Eric. I'll think about it. I'll think about it, Nimmer. I'll think about selling it. I'll get it. One day I'll have a pith hat, and it'll be glorious because I look fantastic in hats. But yeah. And from what I did see of the Thornberries, I did like Nigel. He was cool. I didn't see very much. No, it's okay. I like the jokes. Don't worry. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me, Lily Dilly Dog. Don't tempt me to run for office. I might do it, and I might win. Who knows? But I don't think I don't think that I could get elected here because I'd be telling people that they need to sacrifice for the next generation, that they've been lying and lied to for too long. And besides, being governor sounds awfully boring. I don't think I would enjoy that job at all. That would be quite dreadful to me, I think. Tater wedges? All right. All right, here's the deal. I will have a gubernatorial campaign if Eric Nimmer agrees to be my running mate. God. Ah. Oh my gosh. Run for office. I'm an anarchist, guys. I really don't want to be in charge of things. Stop telling me to run for office. There's only 10 of you in here. Owen could win. Owen could actually win. He has more than 10 fans. My gosh, Boulder Bear. Well, I think I already modded her, actually. So, there we go. Not denounce the ways of Boulder Clinton. I denounce all of the Clintons. Anyway, thank you for coming and derailing me, Nimmer. That was very fun. I knew that once we started talking about men's fashion, you would appear. It's like your siren call or magical whistle. But this has been Field Talk with me, Field, also known as Field Bears. If you enjoyed the stream, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe if you really want to. And if you want to be notified, hit that bell. There are links to all the social places in the description below, and you can sow the field at paypal.me/fieldtalk. Have a great night, and never forget that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide.